Ladies and gentlemen, ProWrestling.me proudly presents Wrestle AM. It's half wrestling show, half morning show, pretty much all VS. And of course, you got the Coco crew here holding it down live. Yours truly, sexiest man on all of Wrestling Radio. Boom, boom, here's Shaking the Room live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. And of course, join me there way across the pond there in England. He's coming to you live from the PWME UK headquarters, the Sultan of Skullduggery himself. Talking about LK. Good to see you again, buddy. How the hell are you?
I'm doing great. I had a fucking awful shift at work. An awful one. I finished at 12:30 a.m. Okay, NXT starts at 1 a.m. Couldn't leave. I had a 4 close, which means it's 4 till whenever everything's done. And I thought, okay, if I get out at like 10:30 to 11:30, I have time to go home, have a shower, sit down, relax, enjoy this week's edition of NXT. However, we didn't close till 12:30. At 1, I had to play it, and then I had to go upstairs, I had to get changed, put everything in the washing basket, then put it in the washing machine. And then by that time, it was 1:10. So unfortunately, I did miss the Finn Balor Samoa Joe talking segment, so I had to skip that so that I could catch up live. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to be here live. And I only had a drink, so this is me opening a very nice Exclusier lager. Beautiful stuff there. So if you are watching this, go to your fridge right now, get yourself an alcoholic beverage.
I gotta ask you this: Did you just have that in the refrigerator, or did you buy that yourself?
No, it was a 4-pack from the shop.
Ah, God, how I wish I lived in Europe where they had such lax drinking laws. Good times.
I'm 19, bro. I'm 19.
Yeah, I know. But in the U.S., you can't buy alcohol till you're 21.
Oh, you can buy alcohol when you're 18.
Yeah, over there in Europe, over there across the pond, yeah, they don't give a fuck. They'll let you buy it at 18. Over here, you got to wait till you're 21 because I don't know why. I have no idea why I think they pulled that number out of a fucking hat. But enough of that. Well, actually, no. Speaking of pulling stuff out of a hat, reach in there your bag of goodies. What are you going to give tonight's NXT? A win, loss, or tie?
I'm going to give it a strong tie. We're leaning towards the weak win. Like, this was better than the previous 2 weeks. I thought I did a great job in building towards the NXT TakeOver event next week. Excuse me. And I overall enjoyed it. There was a couple of good matches. Mm-hmm. There was a contract signing, which I didn't particularly enjoy that much, but I did like the storytelling and story build-up towards that NXT. So as a whole, I'm going to give it a strong tie and a weak win. But whatever mood you're in, if you're in a really good mood, I recommend watching this show because you're going to give it a weak win-win. If you're in a kind of a negative Nelly mood, you're going to just give it a tie. So that's how I like to call it.
Okay, I'm going to be like you. I'm going to give it like a weak win, but that's just, I guess maybe it's because I lowered my standards. Last week was actually pretty good, and I was like, when they were hyping up, okay, coming up next week, and I was like, this doesn't seem like any good. It doesn't seem like it's really good, and it's like, okay, they were hyping up Austin Aries versus Elias Sampson. I was like, well, that match wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And it's like, oh, we're going to have an interview with both Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. And I was like, well, who cares? Oh, well, that turned out to be a better segment than what I expected. So it was better. So that's why I'm giving it a weak win, because, it was just in my mind. It feels like to me like NXT finally said, oh, shit, we've got a fucking special event. We really need to hype that up. We have been dragging tail since Mania. So we need to kind of get off our asses and hype up this event to get people to watch. And I think for the most part they did it. Now they played safe with the booking, which to me that didn't really.
How about this? Sorry to cut you off. Instead of playing safe, they played it smart. They did it simple. It wasn't safe. It was smart and simple for me. You don't have to over the top sell anything.
Oh, yeah.
To me, I think they did. The purpose of this show was to make me want to watch TakeOver next week. The Aries match kind of did at the end, towards the end of the show. The tag title did. The main event with Joe and Baylor, I didn't obviously see the promo, but you saying it was good indicates that they did a good job building that as well. So you can't really say that, even though the build-up has been shit, because the previous week's NXT have been quite frankly shit, I think they did pull a rabbit out. I was concerned for this show. I was honestly concerned.
I was too. My biggest concerns were the fact that, and this is just my opinion here, feel free, everybody feel free to call my ass out on this one, but I feel like up until now, up until like the past couple of weeks, NXT has done nothing but waste their time and waste our time. I really feel that way because they were playing old matches that were weeks behind. They really drug out the Access, the shows they did at Access at Mania Weekend, and they failed to really build up any new stars. I mean, they had a bunch of people get called up. And so who has really debuted? Who has really come forward? Who has really nobody. Nobody's really come out. Really, nobody's come out, really red hot. I mean, they'd already debuted people. They'd already debuted like Austin Aries. They'd already debuted Nakamura. And I think the only person that they've debuted that they've actually got any kind of hype behind is No Way Jose. That's
and
it.
he is a Class A toilet, mind you.
You know what? I'm gonna make like a toilet counter. Every time you call someone a toilet, I'm gonna put like a little check mark, bing, little counter there. So there's one on the board for the toilet meter with LK. But no, I absolutely agree with you.
You don't want to do that because we'll end up with like a 16,000 tally at the side. It would be absolutely ridiculous.
We'll break it. Damn glory hunters. All right, so let's start out here with the show after they do the intro. You had the Revival come out, and they're hyping up their TakeOver rematch against American Alpha. They're actually interrupted by, of all people, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. And I like the way that they approached it. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano was like, you know what, you don't deserve it. American Alpha is going to be. I think they were trying to position themselves to be the new number one contenders after, provided Dash and Dawson do not win going into TakeOver. And then the former champs, they did. This is what I thought was smart. They just kind of blew them off. Like, you know what? We're wrestling in these big arenas. We're touring around with NXT. You guys are wrestling in bingo halls and armories. Whatever. And then, you had both Ciampa and Gargano kind of egged them on. They came, the Revival came back into the ring after some taunting. There were some punches thrown, and then, the match was made for tonight. So I think that was a very good way to kick off the show. I think it was handled logically. You had Dash and Dawson, obviously, they're pissed off. They want a rematch for their tag team titles. They want to take on American Alpha. Out of nowhere, you got Ciampa and Gargano, of all people, coming out there. They're like, who the hell are you guys? Why the hell should we care? And, they tried to get out, why should they fight them? They have no reason to fight them. They shouldn't be chomping at the bit to fight them. And both Ciampa and Gargano did a good job of egging them on, trying to bait them into a fight, which was successful. And then, boom, we had a main event for that evening. So I think that it was almost like a setup to Raw almost with the way that they were setting it up. So props to WWE for that.
I enjoyed it. Excuse me. I enjoyed it. I honestly thought that when the Revival came out, I thought, oh, God, please don't. I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, I've had a long day at work. I don't want to come here and be depressed. But you know what? They cut a decentish promo. I wasn't expecting much from them, but they cut a decentish promo. Then they're interrupted by Gargano and Ciampa, which I think was great. Because now you're like waiting for them to talk. It was like, do you remember Edge and Christian back in the day? They didn't let them talk, and then finally, when Edge finally spoke, it was that amazing pop because it's like, holy shit, he spoke. I wish they did this with Asuka. I wish they didn't let her talk at all, and I mean at all, and for like another year, and then she'll just like one day say like, I don't know, fuck you or something, paraphrasing obviously. So they didn't have them talk. They had a good fight. Forward to the main event. There's a reason for the main event. It's not just a graphic flashing saying Ciampa and Gargano versus the Revival. You actually have a reason and a purpose for it now. I honestly enjoyed that segment. And first of all, I thought, why didn't American Alpha come out? But then I thought, okay, they're going to have the match and it's going to be... I didn't mind this. This was a very good start to the show. And now my mind's playing track on me. Ciampa talk. I think they did. I think I just made an imbecile myself. Did they talk?
Yeah, both Ciampa and Gargano did.
All right, take back at the whole statement. I was kind of like walking all around the place at the time, so I was just kind of like keeping an eye. But I didn't hear Ciampa or Gargano. What did they say?
They just, saying that the Revival doesn't deserve a shot. And then when they walked out, they said, "Hey, for a couple of guys who really don't want to fight us bingo hall boys, you sure are running off really pretty quick."
And they mentioned Dallas, how that's what's going to happen tonight. I think I remember it now. I honestly thought that if you actually consider the 4 men involved and it's an opening show promo, you would actually question yourself, like, why would they do that? Are you seriously going to kick off the show with that? Pulled a rabbit out of the hat. Very good stuff. I enjoyed it. Let's go next.
All right, next was another very quick backstage segment. Nakamura's backstage. Kathy Kelly asked him about his upcoming match with Austin Aries. And Nakamura, I will say this, his English is actually pretty good for being only in the, I don't know what his English was before he signed with WWE, but he's actually pretty good. He said that Aries will bow down to the King of Strong Style.
Yeah, but it was good, but could you picture that on the main roster? Like, I think he needs a manager. Personally, I know it's Nakamura, and I know he's like as close to God as you can get in the wrestling industry. So you think that his mouthpiece and his vocal skills will let him down in the long run? Like, it's all well and good now where you could just say, hey, look, Nakamura versus Austin Aries. Let Austin Aries do the promo because he's a fucking great promo. Say I'm the King of Strong Style, which is on his shirt, on every single one of his shirts he's ever had. So he knows how to say that. So in the long run, like, imagine trying to hype a WrestleMania match on the go home for Raw when you have them both in the middle of the ring. You ain't gonna understand a word the guy's saying. Like Asuka tonight, really, like, you really had to concentrate. Like, if you weren't really fully focused on what she was saying, you wouldn't have probably understood it. It was really clusterfuckery English. But what could get a manager? Like, I don't know, but who can manage these guys? I mean, Heyman would be awesome, but I mean, who could honestly manage a fucking Nakamura?
That's a good question. And plus, well, to Nakamura's defense, I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that he does he can actually convey that emotion to where you can't. Because I remember watching, New Japan shows with him in it, and I can't hardly. I know like 2 or 3 words in Japanese, and that's it. But with him, with his body language, with his emotion, with the way he was carrying himself, I think that comes across, and you can get an idea of what he's saying and what he's doing. His actions completely just transcend language. Now, I'm not saying that, that may not come back to bite him in the butt a little bit later, but, I mean, if he'll just keep learning English, I think he'll be absolutely fine. Now, real quick, I have to go tend to something real quick. I'll be back like 30 seconds here, but Ty Dillinger comes out for the next match here to take on Buddy Murphy. Apparently, Blake and Murphy no more. Alexa Bliss is bailed all by himself here.
Do you want me to carry the ship for a minute while you go and decide where you need to get? Yeah, no problem. I'll put the camera on me so that it doesn't change at all in case you're making any noise.
Okay.
There you are.
All right, go ahead.
I'll continue my point about Nakamura. I think for the time being with these NXT shows where they're just saying, hey, look, Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Nakamura versus Austin Aries. On the main roster, they could do Nakamura, John Cena, Nakamura, AJ Styles, Nakamura, Roman Reigns. Not Roman Reigns, bad example, but you get in the drift of them just saying, hey, look, Nakamura versus him, it's a dream match. That's it. No hype, no build, no actually storylines. But they can't do that forever. There's going to be a time when he's faced everyone that is a dream match, and he's actually going to have to build a feud that's personal. And I think that is what's going to kill the guy. I think that is what's going to kill the guy. This is why Japanese guys don't get over. Because you can't really give him a program to sink his teeth into because his teeth don't speak good English. It's sad, and they knew that. They knew that when they hired him. They knew it. And it is a damn shame. I wish he stayed in New Japan. His matches are going to be, let's call a spade a spade. This guy will never be the main event of WrestleMania. This guy will never be anything major because he can't cut a great promo. He gets a manager. Unless he's like Brock Lesnar and has a Heyman figure, or just have fucking someone. Have Funaki, for crying out loud. But it's what's going to kill him and upsets me. Because the guy's an exceptional talent. The guy is one of the best wrestlers on the fucking planet. And he's going to get screwed. A, because he's foreign. English very well. And that's not a knock. That's not me hating it. I'm just stating what I see as my fact and what I think is an opinion. We'll move on before I cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to disagree. I mean, I think particularly Nakamura is going to be someone who can transcend language that can connect. I mean, I was connected.
But how would they write that? Sorry to cut you off, but how would they write that? They can barely write actual promos and things like that. How are they going to write?
That might be the thing that saves him. The fact that he can't memorize like this long scripted promo.
Saying is right. So that's the creative. They may be the dumbest sacks of shit, but they'll understand. Hey, look, this guy can't speak English very well. They can't. They can barely write it to the point where they can give promos. Imagine them trying to write a guy who doesn't have no promo time. Half their feuds are backstage promos, more in-ring segments. That's how every WWE rivalry is. And without Nakamura being able to do that, what kind of rivalry is he going to have? Concerned. I pray they prove me wrong. But for the time being, I honestly feel Nakamura's stock is right here, right now. And it's gonna grow as he has more dream matches against Austin Aries, AJ Styles, even John Cena, for crying out loud. But then once he hits everyone he needs to hit, it will plummet and it will crash. It will be a sinking ship. So I honestly think.
I think it's just going to be because WWE in particular just doesn't know how to book, quote unquote minorities. They just don't. I mean, it's just the creative team is just made up of just the same type of vanilla type of people. It's like they don't have any friends of color. They don't have any friends that are girls, and they just really struggle writing those types of characters.
That's true, and I just hope they just stick Paul Heyman with him. As simple as that. Just stick Paul Heyman with him, and just say
no problem.
I think that's such a simple solution. Stick Heyman with him, and then just imagine Nakamura in the background, like when Heyman starts going all loopy like that. I think that could be fucking awesome.
I think you could probably do something with like Funaki, but just have him backstage, and then just he doesn't even have to go out to the ring with them. Just have him backstage to translate here and there, or if they ask questions like, well, what's his motivation or what's his training regimen going into this? Funaki can knock it out right there, and you still let Nakamura go out there, wrestle, do his, he takes care of business, and then just goes to the back, and Funaki's the one who just clarifies everything.
That could possibly work. Didn't they do that at Kali one year, where they had Rajin Singh or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
They could do something like that. Literally, if they have that, if they do that, if they play this smart and safe, this guy could be a megastar, make millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
But if they don't do that, which I don't have much faith in them. But then again, Triple H is a smart man. I think he'll be all right. I hope he'll be all right. But enough of this Nakamura talk.
Yeah, let's get to the big story, man. Dillinger wins. Where were you when Ty Dillinger got a win? I think this is the second match I've actually seen him win on NXT since he went with the Perfect 10 gimmick. This is, oh my God. I mean, it's just like, I think what they're trying to do is show that, Buddy Murphy, Wesley Blake, all of them are just going through like a downward spiral. How big of a fucking downward spiral are you on when you're jobbing to the guy who jobs to the stars?
I'm happy for Dillinger. I like this guy.
Oh, by the way, can I say this? And this is how big of a fucking nerd I am. I've noticed that Ty Dillinger tweaked his finishing maneuver, and I like it.
Yeah, I did like a lot. I was confused what he was going for when he did the knee pad down, but it looked nice.
Now, originally, his finishing maneuver was he would drop the knee pads, but he would put his knee on the guy's head and then just fall down and kind of like a jawbreaker.
Yeah.
He'd do it in his head, and I was like, I don't know, it's stupid. But this is a hell of a lot more believable. He takes him up at a fireman's carry. He does like a fireman's carry right into the knee, kind of like a burning hammer almost. It's like a combination of like that neck breaker that Okada does in a burning hammer. He just has
AJ Styles and Adam Cole do it.
Mm-hmm. So
in case you're
yeah,
wondering.
he drops the back of their head across his bare knee. He got the pin, got the win. So congratulations to Ty Dillinger. It'll probably be another year before he gets another win on NXT television. And I kind of want. Here's something else to think about. What are they going to do? I'm thinking they may be ready to call Alexa Bliss up. Because why Bliss? I don't know why her in particular, but it makes sense why they would split her off from the tag team, and then they're trying to figure out. And maybe they're going to get ready to do a gimmick change. I think that's what they're doing right now. They're going to do a gimmick change with both Murphy and Wesley Blake, particularly Buddy Murphy, and push him to single stars. Because they did the same thing with Ty Dillinger, of all people. Remember, he was part of a tag team with Jason Jordan, and then they split him off, and he does like the Perfect 10. So, I mean, it's not unheard of. So, I just wonder what kind of gimmick, how he'll fare as a singles wrestler, if that's the route they're going with him.
Yeah, Blake should have some really campy gimmick, like a really campy gimmick where you're questioning his sexuality.
The one that needs the campy gimmick is Wesley Blake.
That's what.
I thought you said Murphy. My bad.
Murphy's awesome. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed this match. When it came out, I was like, "Oh my good lord!" But I was impressed. For a while, he's put on some mass, looks in great shape. I was kind of curious, is he meant to be a heel or a babyface? Because is Dillinger a heel or a babyface? But I'm guessing Dillinger's the face. And I mean, he's been main eventing the NXT house shows, or at least been partly main eventing against Nakamura. So they obviously see something in this guy, which is a good thing. I mean, I think his whole gimmick at the start I thought was goofy and really shit. But it's really grown on me, and he plays the character so well. It's so simple. It's so simple, but it's effective. That's what's great about NXT.
Nothing much else to add to this, but then we go to the interview segment here. Corey Graves sits down with Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. Now, this actually worked for me, because this actually felt like something out of ESPN, where they're sitting down with a couple of boxers or a couple of MMA fighters, and they're just sitting there talking about everything. They talked about how this has become personal, talking about, and then Joe was saying that, well, why did you keep ducking me? You said, to, be your partner for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I was. You said, you had my back. That asked for you for attack, and then I asked for you for a title shot. Then you're like, well, and then you said, yeah, but the next thing I know, William Regal's coming up to me saying I don't deserve it. And then you made me jump through all these hoops. And then Finn Balor's like, you know what? I don't regret, that giving you that title match in Massachusetts. But, I live in the present. And they were talking about their experience. Balor says he's never been in a cage match before, but he said he'd never been in a ladder match, and he beat Kevin Owens in Japan. So, and it was just so good. I mean, they just talked about, it was just something I hate to say this, but this is something I thought, okay, when's this going to wrap up? No, this is something I really felt like, well, maybe this could go just a little bit longer, but I think it was actually, looking back at it now, I think it was the perfect length. They just talked about how personal this was. Balor, saying, Joe stabbed me in the back. I'd say check it out. I know that's something you said you missed, okay, but I really feel like you need to check this out. They're really selling this match to me, which is saying something, considering I think this will be their fourth encounter now, well, officially, fourth encounter, and I was like, how are they going to up the ante here? They're going to put it in a steel cage. And right now it's looking like Balor may not get the call up right now. So I'm thinking, there might be a chance where they put the championship back on him, and he'll be because he's already the longest reigning NXT champion. Why not go ahead and give him another milestone and make him the first two-time champion?
I think he'll move up with the brand extension. I honestly think he will. Mm-hmm. That's when I think the guy's going to move up to the quote-unquote main roster. But we'll give this a watch, because I know they'll put that up on their YouTube. Or that on YouTube. So I'll give that a watch on YouTube, so if it's worth a watch.
Yeah, it's worth watching. Actually, usually when you do, and plus, I think the unsung hero to this segment is Corey Graves, because usually when stuff like this happens, here's how it usually works with WWE. The interviewer asks some stupid question. He asks like one or two stupid questions. It'll get heated between the two interview subjects, and then it just resorts to fisticuffs. That's what happens every time it blows up into a fist fight. Oh my God! Here comes the referees to split it up. No, this was done backstage. They said it was done earlier in the day, and he asked some, really good. It seemed like he sounded like a legit journalist asking questions. He asked about, do you regret that giving that opportunity to Joe in Massachusetts? You had said, twice that, you felt like you never beat them. You survived them. Those were your words. And, having that come back on Finn Balor and then saying, you know what, you've never been in a cage match before. How do you think that's going to affect your chances? How do you think it's going to affect your future? I mean, it seemed like questions that a legit journalist would ask, and these guys were giving answers like anybody else would give. Like if you were, interviewing a football player or a basketball player or a baseball player, golfer. I mean, hell, anybody. This seems like the answers they would give you. Yeah, there was a stare down at the end, but there was nothing physical, and I just thought it was a breath of fresh air.
I'm upset I missed it now. I'm upset I skipped it.
It's worth a look. Then next we go to another match here, Austin Aries taking on Elias Sampson. This was pretty much, to me, I think this was like your standard match because I don't think anybody was thinking Aries was going to lose, going into TakeOver, but they made it interesting, and he got the submission win with that. It's like a version of the Muda Lock called Last Chancery. Got Elias Sampson to tap out. He got the microphone, so he's going to make sure the spotlight shines on him after his match with Nakamura at TakeOver. So I thought it was a good match, and I've got a crazy prediction. I want to hear what you think about this match and the build-up here. I think the build-up could have been done better, other than just okay, these two Aries and Nakamura team up. They have a tag match together. Then Austin Aries is like, you know what, I really don't have anything going on. I want to be the best, so I got to beat the best. So I'm going to challenge Nakamura. Nakamura accepts, and they did all this in the span of like 2 to 3 weeks. I really felt like they could have built this, had storyline-wise, could have done a better job with it. But better late than never, I guess. But I've got a crazy prediction about their match at TakeOver, but I want to hear what you think about this match and what you think about the build-up so far.
Well, the build-up is what's wrong, and that's just, it's Nakamura in a big match against a big indie star in Austin Aries, and it's a dream match. That's the build. There has been no build. It's just been video packages on Austin Aries promo, the shortest promo from Nakamura you've ever seen in your life, where he literally says about 8 words. Just no build, and to call it a build is generous. It's just been literally, I won't give the build to the writers. I won't give the build to the talent. I'll give the build to the production team. The production team sold this match on everyone of how awesome they did. I mean, video package, it looks fucking awesome. And in the end of the day, Austin Aries, Elias Sampson, I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought for what it was in a squash extended one, it was okay. Elias Sampson, I think he's growing on me. Growing on me. I can't believe this is. But the guy's going out there. He's trying to get heat. He's getting heat. He's doing his job. It's like, imagine Roman Reigns actually being a heel. That's what you get with Elias Sampson. The crowd are booing him, chanting "Drift Away." He shouts "No!" like in the middle of a rest hold. Awesome. I like that. I like that old school.
By the way, you since you're considering you're drinking a lager right now, here's a drinking game you can play. If you go back and rewatch this episode of NXT, I want you to take a drink, and make sure you play this with beer rather than hard liquor here. But take a drink every time you see a wrestler with a beard.
A bit like I'm halfway through Impact, and like you got James Storm who has a beard, you got Bram who has a beard, you've got Galloway who has a beard. That's just in like the first 45 minutes. And I'm there like, what the fuck? They all look the same, the poor bastards. Everyone has a beard now. That's the trend?
Apparently it must be because I mean, just okay. In this episode of NXT alone, both the Revival have beards. Ciampa and Gargano have beards. Ty Dillinger has somewhat of a beard. Buddy Murphy has a beard. Austin Aries has a beard. Elias Sampson has a beard. I'm sure that was just on this show. You know, it's like, damn, everybody's got a damn beard. I guess the hipster look isn't going to die out anytime soon, much to my chagrin.
I don't. The issue with Samson, though, back to Samson.
Yep.
I can't put my finger on it. There's something that's really, really wrong with this guy. I don't know if it's his lack of wrestling ability or what it is. I just find it hard to connect to the guy, even though I think he has improved a lot. If you actually look at him from in-ring wise, he has improved a lot. But at the same time, I think it's because the talent around him is just so damn good that it kind of makes him look bad. So what I'm trying to say is if you put him on the main roster, that's bad. But because he's surrounded by Nakamura's, Austin Aries, Finn Balor's, Samoa Joe's guys, and he's wrestling them on a week-to-week basis, of course he's going to look shit. Anyone's going to look shit if you compare them to those guys. So I think they're not doing him justice by having him in the ring with these guys. Put him in a ring with a Buddy Murphy, a Wesley Blake, and let him exceed, let him excel. I mean, we had... Did we or did we not have Elias Sampson go on a ridiculous winning streak, and then he just stopped?
Yeah, he went on a winning streak. They said, oh, crap, he's got a winning streak. We need to stop that now. So they did.
I would much rather watch an Elias Sampson match than the Baron Corbin match. Okay, but the difference is Corbin's taller. That's the only difference. If you look at Corbin and Elias Sampson, they're pretty much identical. The only difference is Elias Sampson's in a much better shape. The guy can cut a good promo compared to Corbin. I think they made a wrong choice. I would have much rather see Elias Sampson than Baron Corbin.
No, cutting a better promo than Corbin. I mean, come on, let's at least raise the bar here. But anyway, on to my crazy prediction. This is my crazy prediction for NXT TakeOver. I think, and maybe this could be like a tiebreaker for something a little bit later in a few days when we do pay-per-view profits for this show. I got a feeling that Austin Aries is going to beat Nakamura thanks to help from a newly signed Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode's going to come out, and he's going to cost Nakamura the match. This is going to, Aries goes full heel. They reunite the Dirty Heels. They're going to give him a different name, obviously, and then this pisses off Nakamura, and he can't fight 2-on-1. So he has to find a partner, and his partner will be the returning Hideo Itami, and that'll be your a tag match coming up for TakeOver Brooklyn, or whatever they do in the summer.
That is probably what we're going to get. That's smart. When we do pay-per-view profits, I'll take that in consideration.
All right, and then we also saw another promo for Andrea. I'm fucked up his name already. I apologize. Andrade Almas, the former La Sombra, he's actually going to debut next week at TakeOver. Interested to see against who, but I like the fact that they acknowledged his, he was a former luchador. He's going out unmasked now. So what can I say? I'm, starting to become like a fan of, Lucha Libre. So let's have some fun here. I enjoyed that.
Are you watching the AAA World Cup this weekend? I don't know if I will or not.
I don't even know where to find it. So if anybody can tell me where to find that, I'll be more glad. I might give it a look.
It was on their website, and to sign up, you have to give them your telephone number, name. You have to do so much to sign up for this thing. It's more.
I don't know if I'd want to do that, considering when they did. God, what was the name? Triple Mania. When they did Triple Mania, and that was a colossal technical clusterfuck.
Well, I think I might, be a pirate for a day, be Captain OK for the day, and maybe find a pirate's way.
Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. All right. Might have to check that Let's see. Next, we had the tag team match we talked about at the top of the show. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano taking on the Revival. And what can I say, man? I think this was some ballsy booking here because, we were saying they were playing it safe, but the challengers, man, this I thought, okay, this is going to be your by the numbers standard tag team match. I was just waiting. Okay, Shatter Machine's coming. Okay, Shatter Machine's coming. Okay, Shatter Machine's coming. And then, no, both Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano got the win. They did a small package after a roll through. They got hit with a superplex, but rolled through, got the pin. Dash and Dawson were just absolutely furious and started a beat down on the challengers. American Alpha had to come out and make a save. It was a brawl. I was like, whoa, that was completely unexpected.
Sense, because if you did it vice versa, say you had the Revival win and then had the Revival beat down on Gargano and Ciampa, you're making Gargano and Ciampa, who are going to be involved in the Global Cruiserweight Series this month or next month.
Need something to hype it up, yeah.
Yeah, you would have made them look like absolute jobbers. I made them look like toilets. So I'm glad that they did give them the win to make them look credible for that series, making the series look credible, saying, hey, look, we have Gargano and Ciampa there. They defeated former NXT Tag Team Champions. So I think that's good. And I think I actually could see them having maybe a quick run with the tag belts, because if you actually look at it, the tag division is really, really weak right now. You've got who do we actually have? We have the Revival, Alpha, American Alpha. I know. I'm struggling to think of anyone else.
I mean, they've called up everybody else. They don't really have anybody else to work with at this point. They called up the Vaudevillains. They called up Enzo and Cass. They split up.
I think
they split up Murphy. Now you got TM61. They just debuted. You got them, and then I know they're about to pull up this monster tag team called the Authors of Pain. I think that they're somebody they're getting ready to call up to the NXT.
No, I reckon they'll do Ciampa and Gargano versus Alpha in the next TakeOver then.
So, I mean, that could definitely be something there. And I had actually heard, and I don't know if you've heard the same thing, but I heard that there was rumors that the main roster was considering calling up American Alpha, but then this whole brand split happened, so that may have been mixed.
The way I see it with the brand split, there's more chance of loads of these guys getting called up. I mean loads of these guys getting called up because they need talent. And, there's loads of guys right now in NXT who are ready. They're more than ready, more than capable of coming up to the main roster. So I honestly see loads and loads of talent coming up. I'm expecting Alpha to come up. I'm expecting Baylor to come up. Maybe Joe, maybe not. I'm not really 100% sure he'll be in on Raw or SmackDown. But definitely American Alpha, Finn Balor. I reckon Bayley, it's her time now to come up. I'm not sure. Because if you notice, they kept Bayley out of the picture. They're keeping her off the TV. Keep it out of mind, out of sight.
So they're keeping Bayley off the TV till summer. Because I think that's going to be the main event for the August TakeOver. They're going to have Asuka Bayley rematch.
Yeah, they could do that. But my gut is, I actually think Nia Jax could. Think about it. Isn't she related somehow, some way, to Roman Reigns?
Apparently so, and I don't know.
That's a help. That's more of a help than you can ever imagine.
Yeah, there isn't actually. It's a great segue into the I don't want to say main event, but the final segment was a contract signing. Wait a minute, if you listen carefully, you can hear Dave Coco scream all the way from Tokyo, "Goddamn contract signings!" Nia, she said she broke Bayley. She's going to beat Asuka because Asuka's never faced anyone like her. Asuka says, just looked at Nia and said, "You just talk too much, and you should be scared of me." They signed the contract. They stare each other down. Asuka throws some strikes, but Jax just power bombs the fuck out of her and then just walks out. Obviously, you got to think the women's championship is in jeopardy here. I don't think so, but I think it was a great way to sell it because, again, I mean, she's right. I mean, Nia, Asuka has never faced anyone like Nia Jax, and I guess that's the only thing that makes this matchup interesting, because this is not some skinny 5'0" nothing 98-pound girl they're going to throw in front of Asuka. No, this is someone a hell of a lot bigger, a hell of a lot stronger, that can pull off some moves here. So it's kind of like David versus Goliath, even though that Asuka's definitely got the experience edge. It's can she manhandle and overcome a woman who's obviously bigger than her? So that's the only thing making this match interesting.
My guy's telling me Nia Jax. The way I see this, Asuka can take a loss. Asuka can take a loss because of that name value, the brand value that Khan has built up in the Japanese circuit. I honestly can see Asuka taking a loss, Nia Jax going on a lengthy heel run with the title. And I mean a lengthy one. A really long one with the title. Bayley can challenge, Asuka can challenge, Carmella can challenge when she's a bit more, better in the ring-wise. Alexa Bliss, babyface turn, she can challenge. Then the next crop of women, they can challenge. And then finally, when someone beats her, comes the star. And maybe it sets up...
you keep saying next crop of women. I've been waiting on the next crop of women since fucking December.
Because I think the next crop, we've had Alexa Bliss step up, and we've had Carmella. And now we're going to wait and wait. Maybe the next crop is going to be Peyton Royce and the other lady. Her sister, or I think it's her sister, or they're related. It's Peyton Royce and...
I know who you're talking about. Billie Kay.
They look very... Yeah, Billie Kay. They look very similar.
No, they're both Australian. I mean, that's about the only similarity there. So you got the Australian girls. Then you got, I think, Nikki Storm. You got Liv Morgan. I don't know if Deonna Purrazzo was actually signed with them. I think she is somebody that they've just been using as like a jobber, kind of like Blue Pants. They had some... then there wasn't there that one chick that won Tough Enough?
Oh God, yeah, I know who you mean. Mandy, wasn't it? Or no, Sarah Lee. Sarah Lee.
Okay, because I didn't watch Tough Enough. I was like, fuck this. I don't give a shit. Because all the Tough Enoughs never really panned out.
The only Tough Enough participant that I've actually thought could have potential, who actually won, is Maven. I was a fan of Maven when I was a child. I was about 6, 7, 8. I was a huge fan of Maven, believe it or not. I might have been the only child Maven fan. I loved it when he had that heart.
I like Maven. The first one was Maven and Nydia. They won that, and both of them are no longer wrestling. The only one that and most people don't actually remember this because this is how good of a job he did, but the only Tough Enough contestant they had win that actually really panned out was John Hennigan, who later became Johnny Nitro, became John Morrison, who now wrestles as Johnny Mundo.
Yeah, I mean, that program, I enjoy the older program. I thought the new incarnation of the program sucked. Like, I mean, sucked. It didn't feel like they wanted it. It was just looked like, oh, I'm an NFL player, or I'm an ex-NBA player. I've taught, I have muscle. I think I could do this. Whereas the old ones, they used to get put through drills. You used to see them fight for it, like even Ryback, Morrison, Miz, people like that, and I miss that. But no, I was Maven's only fan. I used to call him Dropkick King. So we used to call him the Dropkick King. I used to love him. And he still does wrestle, by the way.
Oh, he does still wrestle?
Yeah, I remember he was advertised a few months ago for Kurt Hawkins or Brian Myers' promotion called Create a Pro, which is like a training school, and Maven was on there. I don't know if he's still wrestling independently, but I remember seeing that because I was like, hey, that's the Dropkick King. That's why I used to call him, because the only offense he ever used to do was a fucking dropkick.
So all in all, I mean, I'm still hyped about TakeOver just because I know that they haven't let me down yet. Knock on wood, and hopefully they'll never will let me down. But I'm actually excited about this.
I mean, on paper, Baylor and Jonah Cage is going to be awesome. Nakamura and Aries is going to be awesome. Nia Jax and Asuka, I think could be good. I'm just curious to see the outcome. You got the Revival American Alpha, that could be good. We've got the debut of this Andres Luchador. I think it's going to be good. And what's the bet that Andres is going to debut against the Perfect 10 Ty Dillinger? That poor bastard.
That actually needs to be a tiebreaker question with pay-per-view profits.
I hope they don't announce who he's facing.
I don't think they just said he's going to debut. They didn't say who he was taking on. I'm betting it's going to be somebody like Alexander Wolf.
Can't be Alex Riley. Damn. I hope it's someone like Bobby Roode, though, or Eric Young, or someone like that, like a big debut. Well, I know we've seen Eric Young, but, properly seen Eric Young. What happened to that guy? Like, he was on NXT and then nothing happened. I'm guessing they didn't like him, but, he had an okay match with Samoa Joe.
Who was that?
Eric Young.
Eric Young? I don't know. Remember that James Storm only had 2 matches on NXT.
Yeah, it's strange, but I think what they're doing is, I think this is really actually smart. I think that the TNA originals, they're going to NXT having 1 or 2 matches, not officially signing anything, to the point that they'll go, hey TNA, I'll give you one last chance. If you pay me this amount of money, it worked for James Storm. I honestly believe, hand on heart, Bobby Roode will do the exact same thing. You get this time next year, Bobby Roode will be TNA World Champion.
All right, you ready to do some live comments?
Yeah, your favorite time of the show, Boom.
Yeah, I know. I'm only taking questions. I'm not going to just read every comment that comes through here. And Ray Mastani, no, there is no call-in line because, well, that wasn't a call-in line, and we just give you a link so that way you could actually tap into the call, not like a 1-800 number, the way it could be done. So, no, we still haven't figured out how to do the actual call-in line. The only way we can get people to take calls is when we just do leave you the actual link to get into the chat room that we're in.
That's a good way of doing it because I've set it so that if someone could come into the call, they automatically get muted and the video won't actually go on them, click on them. So I think that it's a good way to get on it. Because everyone watching this right now, if you are watching this show on a YouTube, you have a Google account. Okay? Because if you do it by Skype, I don't have a Skype. Not everyone has, access to call in. What happens if they're watching us on YouTube, but they can't phone in because they're watching us on their phone? If they want to join in the show, they click the link, and whilst they're waiting on the call, they can still hear us.
Okay.
That's why I think that's a good idea.
All right. All right. The next question is this NXT TakeOver really the end? Because Ticketmaster took out NXT Brooklyn. No, it's still going on. I think it was just something with Ticketmaster. I think I don't know exactly what the official reason was, but no, as far as I know, that's on. It says when will Bayley debut? I assume he means on the main roster. I think it's going to be sometime later on, late in the summer. I would probably say sometime around SummerSlam, maybe a little afterwards.
Yeah, I see the draft update, but I will tell.
All right. Who do you think will be in the Cruiserweight Classic? I think they've got everything sorted out, right?
I think they got a few spots left, but head over to promising.me for updates on that. Because I'm really interested in that, and I'm looking forward to that series. And you want to review that with me, Booms? Hopefully, it's on a weekday that you can review it.
I have to check that out. Let's see. Thoughts on AJ heel turn, and will Finn help AJ at Money in the Bank? Well, I think WWE's got it ass backwards. I think they should have had Reigns turn heel and had AJ go full-blown face, but then again, WWE's not in the business of being cool, but at least AJ's going to be a cool heel. This leads me to believe maybe some disbelief that Finn Balor's coming up, because you got the club together and they're basically going to do like a Bullet Club. There you got them solidly behind each other. And I don't see Finn helping. I just don't.
No, I think Finn's going to do it by himself. I don't think there's going to be any involvement with the club. I think he's going to be brought up Raw or SmackDown with the brand extension. And that I have no belief that he'll be a part of the club storyline. He might be involved in the club storyline somewhere down the line, but I don't think he's going to come out at a pay-per-view or anything like that. I think they're going to save that, because then if they do the draft, I think that could be a great shock. Like, the lights go out and then Finn Balor comes out. I think that could be really awesome. So I think they're going to save him for the draft.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of weird if they're going to use the draft to call up people from NXT because
No, I think that's perfect because then
well,
you could have
yeah,
video
yeah,
package.
but
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
could,
thinking
isn't it?
logic. No, but no. But logically, think about this. Imagine if they spin the wheel, and then it's like, okay, coming up now is looky here, we're pulling up Wesley Blake.
No, it won't be people like that.
I know it won't, but
Think about this.
logically, you got to think. Someone who may not be ready to move up from developmental could get drafted. You got to think like, I know realistically, that's probably how they're going to debut some NXTs, make it like somebody from NXT got debuted. But if you look at it logically, and you say that everybody on NXT is ready to go, then by that definition, that hell, Liv Morgan could get drafted and come up, and obviously she's not ready.
Yeah, but I think like there'll be a tier of people who will be involved and eligible. I just see it as a way because then just say Baylor, but he doesn't actually debut for like a
And
few
plus,
weeks, and they can do vignettes and video packages actually hyping them, getting people excited. Say you hype Finn Balor for a month with awesome video packages and vignettes, awesome video pack. Then when he debuts, you can actually draw something called a television rating. I
maybe.
think that's perfect.
And then plus, and to my knowledge, I've not heard anybody, at least not in the WWE. I've heard fans say it, but not anybody in the WWE say that NXT debuts are on the table.
It's I bet you hard earned money that there'll be debuts. I'm not saying a lot, maybe one or two. But I mean, I think the brand extension could actually help, like the lower mid card guys like Fandango and Tyler Breeze. Say, for instance, you could have on W.com breaking news. General manager Shane McMahon, for instance, in talks of general manager William Regal, do a swap. Say, do Samoa Joe and fucking for the case of it, Elias Sampson, Fandango, Tyler Breeze. That way, you're not overbearing the SmackDown roster, and you're still not killing the NXT roster. So now you could have Fandango, Tyler Breeze go down and try and save their career, and then eventually move back up. So that I just think it's a fair way of doing it. I hope they do it that way. Summer Rae is another person who I think really has improved a lot in the ring. If you haven't seen her recently, she's really fucking good. So have Summer Rae come down to NXT for Samoa Joe. Or no, have her swap for Bayley. Bayley goes up, Summer Rae comes down. Summer Rae can then have a program of Asuka. I think that could be great. That blonde girl versus Asuka. Like, you're a little Barbie doll. I'm fucking Asuka. I'm a real woman. I'm going to fucking kick your ass. I think that could be great, and I hope they do that.
I mean, I know what you're saying. I mean, it just the only case where that has worked, where someone got called down to NXT to work with a talent, was Tyson Kidd. That is the only success story that they have had when they called somebody down, worked them up, because it has not worked with anybody else that they have ever tried.
Tyson Kidd, Cesaro, Curtis Axel. Remember, he was Michael McGillicuddy, and they called him down.
No. Okay. Cesaro was only down there to work, and it got to get Sami Zayn over and to hype up NXT, and that did work. Curtis Axel, he wrestled like one match there, and it was a complete and utter fucking failure.
Dude, the guy was in like the NXT Championship tournament. The guy had a feud with Tyson Kidd. He was in NXT for a while. Because if you remember, he was Michael McGillicuddy. Then he came back down. He was still Michael McGillicuddy, and then they called him back up when he did the re-debut as Curtis Axel as part of the Paul Heyman guy fraction.
Yeah, and then they sent him back down again, or I think maybe they need to.
The second one I'm not talking.
That's
the second one,
and that was horrible.
I feel sorry for my boy Axel. I really do. Yeah, he's such a talented guy. It pisses me off.
Is Vince right in the sense that NXT doesn't make him money? From last I heard, I actually heard that NXT actually kind of cost WWE money, but I don't know how accurate that is now, considering they are touring a lot more, that they are, I mean, hell, they were selling out the Barclays Center, so I don't know how accurate that is now. But last I had heard, and this was some time ago, so take it for what it's worth, that, yeah, I mean, they were losing money because they were putting so much money into the program to get the talent ready. I mean, they were spending money like, I'm talking like, for like the video, for like the equipment, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, Nakamura isn't going to be a cheap guy, and the more house shows they're doing, and they're not big house shows, they're not like big draws. They're having Nakamura, Baylor, Joe, like they're going to be pricey guys. Wrestle in front of what, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 people?
Yeah, some of those NXT shows I think NXT has like an A squad and a B squad personally, because I think one of them, like the main event, was like Mojo Rawley versus Samoa Joe. No. I think it was Murphy versus Mojo Rawley. I think that was like the main event.
That was in the Armory, though, wasn't it? That was the Orlando Armory in front of like 100 people.
Yeah, it was like.
But that's good. I like those shows are needed. They're necessary. They're to help. Dude, I'd love to go to those shows. Those would be the best ones to go to.
Yeah, because then you see a lot of people that they don't have on TV yet. So I kind of get excited about that because I want to kind of see who's going to come up. Get an early look at these folks. Like Adriana Reese. God, I hope this. I don't want to come off like a fucking douchebag, but I knew her back when I first started out Internet Wrestling Radio. Lance Hoyt, of all people, hooked me up with this promotion. They're not around anymore, well, at least not in that same carnation, called PCW, Professional Championship Wrestling, out of Arlington, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. And she was one of the women's wrestlers there. She was kind of just starting out, and she was actually somebody I interviewed. And I will tell you, that girl is sweet as hell. She is every bit as gorgeous, because they called her Athena, and trust me, she lives up to the hype, man. She's fucking gorgeous. She is somebody that's been, signed with NXT, has been training and with the Performance Center and wrestling around. I can't wait to see her debut.
Yeah, I mean, I have. What was I going to say? I was reading the live comments. Carry on.
Dude,
I was reading live comments. Carry on.
I just realized, man, that's been about fucking 10 years. Almost 10 years.
You're getting old.
Dude,
Jesus,
I am.
10 years?
Dude,
10 years ago, I wasn't even in secondary school.
Dude, I'm not. In October, I will officially have been doing Internet Wrestling Radio for 10 years.
Wow, 10 years.
Can't believe it.
I've only. Wow, what have I been doing? My first ever review of any kind was Hell in a Cell. That was my first ever review of any single show. So come Hell in a Cell, that would be 2 years.
It'll sneak up on you before you know it. Let's see. Will we see a Sammy versus Boom Boom mock draft? Yes and no. Sammy wants me to do a show with him, and I'm willing to do that, but I've already got a pick'em contest going over right now, ProWrestling.me. If you go to forums, it'll be the first one you see. It's basically kind of like how we do pay-per-view profits. What I want you to do is you pick Raw, you pick SmackDown, you pick who you think is going to go to where. And if you're correct, you get a point. Person with the most points after the draft, is declared the winner. So there you go. So check us out, ProWrestling.me. Just go over to the forums and just reply to the thread. Right now, it's not too many people are participating. I wish some more people would, sign.
Dude, I've been. You cannot deny I'm not the busiest motherfucker.
I know. He's the hardest working man on ProWrestling.me.
One day, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do anything for a week. The podcast section. I'm not going to update the news section for a whole week. And I'm going to see if there's a single piece of activity on there. There'll be Matteo CC's blogs. Who else comments? I think Andy Paps or someone like that always comments on the news every now and then. There'll just be nothing there. It'll be nothing. And I might actually do that. I might book a week's holiday, just fly off somewhere and just let it burn, watch it crash and burn.
There are some men who just want to see the world burn. That man is okay. Okay, you do have a question here from Ray Mastana. He wants to know, when will you have a TNA review up? Or if you're going to review TNA?
It will be tomorrow or Friday. Likely tomorrow. I'm halfway through it right now. Like I said with Impact, I can't sit through and watch it in one sitting. I physically can't. It takes me a few sittings.
Wait, hang on. I hate to interrupt you here, but Ray Mastani has one final question, and I don't believe this next statement for a second. He says, final question because I have a date. Okay.
No, dude, literally, he isn't a bad-looking guy. He was on the because he came on. He originally had the camera on.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad-looking guy.
Oh, I hope he's got a better personality. But he says,
What do you mean? Right. Right. What do you mean personality? The guy comes on here. He asks questions, and he has a gimmick. His gimmick is the king of porn style.
yes, he is the king of porn style.
He is the ladies' man. He is the ladies' man. He is the ladies' man. He's gonna know what to do if he gets that date. Okay, his experience in the porn industry. Okay, if he actually pulls, he's gonna be the god. He's gonna be the sex god.
I wonder what Ray Mastani's porn name would be.
Ray Mastani. That's it.
Ray Mastani. I don't know. If I was ever going to do porn, I figured my porno name would be Buck Naked. Not naked, naked. Nekkid. Because I don't know if you have the saying out there, in England here, but where I come from, naked just means you don't have any clothes on. Naked means you got no clothes on and you up to something, and probably something you shouldn't be up to. But he's got a question.
Good luck.
Yeah, but his question is, who's going to win the world title first, Owens or Styles?
Owens. I see Owens winning Money in the Bank. I gave the way I would book it with Sami Zayn winning and the Money in the Bank. Then the next time Raw, Kevin Owens attacking him. Sami Zayn saying, look, Owens, I want to fight you. Owens saying, no, look, why would I fight you? I'm a prize fighter. I'm not just going to fight you because you want me to. Sami Zayn puts the briefcase on the line at Battleground. And then Kevin Owens wins. He gets insane heel heat for costing Sami Zayn the obviously biggest opportunity of his life. Sami Zayn becomes a bigger underdog babyface because he has the sympathy. So I think that's what they should do. Or just have... That does take some thought. So they could just have Owens win the Money in the Bank in the first place.
I can honestly see AJ winning it because I can see AJ finally going Roman Reigns into another title shot somewhere down the line, and then just during all the confusion, have the club interfere, and this time it finally pays off. He, hits him with a steel chair, runs him over the truck, whatever, smacks him with a ladder, runs him into a cage, throws like some rabid weasels in his face, but whatever. He does enough to get the pin, get the win, and then now, because I think he's got that clout to where I think WWE may want to throw their support behind him. But that's just my opinion there. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get to questions. Andy Paps, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I usually don't like to do just comments, but it says, me and my best friend formed a tag team. Andy Paps, well, what is the name of your tag team? Or better yet, do you want us to name your tag team? Let's see. Adrian Carmente, he says, will La Sombra be in the Cruiserweight Classic? I think he is.
Yeah, probably. It'll make sense for him too.
It would totally make sense. Has Kota Ibushi signed with WWE yet? I think he's going to be part of the Cruiserweight Classic, but I don't think he's signed up. Now, I think they're close to a deal because I don't think they would have shown him at the last TakeOver if they weren't at least didn't have an idea that negotiations were going positive, and they were thinking if there was any doubt that he may not sign. I think the fact that they showed him is a positive sign that they think they're going that way. But no, I haven't seen anything officially that he has signed with WWE.
I don't know though, because hasn't he opened his own wrestling? Hasn't he opened his own wrestling company in Japan? I think he has.
No, he was. The thing that made headlines was the fact that he didn't sign with New Japan, and he didn't re-sign with Dramatic Dream Team over there either. So he would stay a free agent, and then sure enough, boom, this Cruiserweight Classic comes up, and he's one of the names going around with it.
Oh, I thought he would start his own company.
Nah, he may have. I don't know. I don't know if he's part owner of Dramatic Dream Team or not. The DDT promotion. I have to look that up because I didn't know that. I don't know that off the top of my head. Let's see. Lennox Watterson, he asked a good question. Should Apollo Crews go back to NXT? I say yes, because I don't think, no disrespect to him, I like Apollo Crews. Hell, he was my pick to be the new face of NXT, and I really felt like his character needed some fleshing out, and I think that was the perfect place for him to stay. But I think Vince McMahon saw a picture of him, started masturbating uncontrollably, and the next thing we know, boom, he gets called up. At least that's my theory. But yeah, I would like to see him go back, just to flesh out his character a little bit more, and just polish him up a little bit. Because I mean, yeah, he's got all the great talent in the world. He's got great physique. He's got great charisma. Now let's try to put that to use. Let's try to figure out how it best works for him to get him over.
Yeah. Back to the Ibushi point. He's organization called Ibushi Wrestling Research Institute, IWRI, the 22nd of 2016.
Okay.
I don't know if that's like a training academy or anything. I can't picture that being a wrestler. Sorry, my voice. I'm starting to lose my voice. If my voice goes a bit loud, I actually think I'm starting to lose my voice. Like every now and then, it keeps going high pitch, just really randomly. And I hope I'm not losing my voice. It's really frustrating.
I was going to say, did you finally hit puberty?
It's really frustrating. It's been happening all day, and I've been mumbling at work. It's just like, oh, come on, talk, you motherfucker. It's really fucking strange. Or I'm coming down with a cold. One of the above.
Yeah, either one.
Hopefully it's later.
All right. I'm actually thinking that's going to be the last of the questions. I think, yeah, we've gotten everything. Can you believe it?
Boom.
All right, so it's time to wrap it up with some shameless self-promotion. We'll tell everybody to check us out at KocoSports.com. That's your home for combat sports. It's where the world goes to kick ass, and most importantly, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. You can also find us at ProWrestling.me. We've got news and gossip. We got the forum. We got the forums there with the pick'em contest. Please get your picks in and just check that out. We've also got blogs. We've got a few new posts up there, so be sure to check them out. And you can write your own. If you want to start your own column, it's the place to go. We've also got all the archives to all our podcasts. So if you missed anything with myself, Sammy, LK, Coco, anybody else here with the Coco crew, you can always check it out there. It's ProWrestling.me. And, of course, follow us always on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter because we're always cranking out content, and that's the place to go to kind of find out, what we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it, and so that way you never miss a second of all the fun that we have here each and every week. And best of luck to Dave Coco for starting his new jobs. He's turning over the reins to the rest of us here. We're going to hopefully take some of the slack up off of him, So best of luck to him. And let's see, we got coming up, LK going to try to crank out a TNA review. Of course, we're going to have a Lucha Underground review, possible SmackDown review. Ring of Honor, not so much. They just did another best of shows. This week was the Bullet Club. And speaking of Ring of Honor, for those of you who've been following the channel here, I've been doing like the mystery box, the subscription mystery boxes. I've been reviewing them for the past few months now. Believe it or not, Ring of Honor, of all people, offered for Memorial Day, they offered a Memorial Day mystery box, and so yours truly, it's like, well, hell, I guess I got to. So since I've gone this far, so I've ordered one of their boxes, and I got an email from Ring of Honor today saying that it's in the mail, it's being shipped to my house. So I'm expecting it in the next 2 to 3 days, and I'll review that as soon as I get it. And you can also check out, I've done several other companies. I've still got a few more to go here because I keep finding more of them.
Yeah, I've got my WrestleCrate. I got an email on Saturday about WrestleCrate, but Monday was a bank holiday. So, bank holiday. But it was bank holidays for the post.
Well, it was Monday. Well, I mean, I know it probably wouldn't affect you, but I mean, Monday was Memorial Day here in the U.S., and maybe that had something to do with it because it was Memorial Day here in the United States, and so I mean, I didn't have the day off, but everybody else had the fucking day off.
Yeah, except for another day off work here, and I was like, fuck's sake, the post, and then I was like, okay, it's going to come today, and it didn't come today, so I'm expecting it tomorrow morning or. But also, whilst we're doing shameless self-promotion, make sure you check out our new little merch store. Now, I've got a ProWrestling.me shirt. We've got I've got a PWME LKU toilet shirt. I'm working on a design for Booms. I'm working on a design for Coco, and then we're going to have our own little store. And then you're going to be able to pick your favorite co-hosts or buy all of them if you like. Also, we got a new Patreon page which you can pledge monthly to, where you get a shout out. And also on the new Pick'em, whoever wins that NXT TakeOver pay-per-view profits, I will send them the ProWrestling.me shirt for free of charge.
Nice.
You cannot get better than this.
Nice. And if there is ever a shirt done of me, and there's any way I can do it, I will fucking autograph it for you. If I can get a hold of one and just mail it to you, if I will do that if I can figure out how to put all this stuff together, because I have not actually seen any of this, but I'll have to check it out.
The links are in the description. The links are all in the description. The Patreon page in the description, and the link to the merchandise store. But I've got my design, and I'm trying to work on yours, Booms. I'm trying to think of something cool to have on yours.
Yeah, you don't need anything cool. You just need the moneymaker right here.
Dude, I can't just have your face just right in the middle of the shirt.
That'd be great. Just me with a thumbs up, just like.
Boom! That's it. That was the money shot. That's what I'll photocopy that.
There you go. All right, that's gonna do it for us. So be sure to again keep tuning in, and we're gonna have some more fun. So in the meantime, the boom just went bang, and I am out.